Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today we're embarking on a truly epic, dramatic journey. We're going to explore exactly how the FIFA World Cup evolved from a seemingly impossible, simple dream into the undisputed biggest sporting event on planet Earth. Because, before the dazzling fireworks, the billion-view highlight reels, and those massive modern stadiums, there was just an idea. What if the world's best teams could actually meet on a single stage? As you're going to see, the path from that very first kick to global fame is absolutely packed with forgotten heroes, devastating heartbreak, and moments so iconic they literally still send chills through the world today.
I want you to just think about the sheer magnitude of this for a second. Imagine a game so powerful that for 90 minutes it can stop arguments, silence streets, empty homes, fill stadiums, divide families, unite strangers. It's incredible, right? This tournament starts with a single ball, but it ends with history, national pride, legend, and glory. This isn't just football. We're talking about a shared global heartbeat.
Okay, let's dive into this. How exactly did such a simple concept manage to change the entire landscape of sports forever? To really understand that, we have to strip away all the modern glamour and travel back to a time when football was a very, very different game, played under completely different circumstances. Section 1. The dream becomes reality. The impossible logistics of early football. So, at the dawn of the 20th century, football was actually growing pretty fast, but it was mostly confined to Europe and South America. And international play? Well, it was a complete logistical nightmare. Imagine gritting it out on muddy local fields, and if you wanted to play abroad, you were traveling for weeks by boat, literally doing calisthenics on the deck just to stay fit, and then arriving completely exhausted. But a man named Jules Rimet saw past the mud. He had this vision. He truly believed this game could unite nations on an international stage, entirely without war or politics. People called him way too ambitious, but hey, great ideas often have to survive a lot of doubt.
And that survival led to a massive breakthrough. In 1930, the first FIFA World Cup actually became a reality. But look at those numbers, just 13 teams. Compared to today's massive multi-continent qualifiers, this was an enormous, raw, and totally experimental leap of faith. Uruguay was chosen to host because, well, they were Olympic champions at the time, and they actually had the political will to build the atmosphere the tournament needed. The final was this fierce contest between neighbors, and when Uruguay defeated Argentina 4-2, they didn't just win a trophy, they basically created the founding myth of the World Cup. They gave this brand new global ritual its very first hero and its first champion.
Which brings us to Section 2, Silence and the Return, Tragedy and Heartbreak. So the tournament was still really young and fragile. It managed to expand in Italy and France in the 1930s, but then a dark shadow crept over the globe. The Second World War just stopped everything right in its tracks. 12. For 12 long years, there was absolute silence. The biggest dream in football was abruptly paused by the biggest tragedy in human history. There were no tournaments, no finals, just a profound, heavy silence.
But silence doesn't kill legends. When the World Cup finally came back in 1950, it carried the weight of a world that was desperately trying to heal. Enter the Maracanazo. Brazil was playing at home, right? And they were in front of an absolutely massive, expectant crowd. A huge national celebration was all but guaranteed, but then the underdog, Uruguay, shocked everyone and won 2-1. That giant stadium felt completely silent. The triumphant joy that was expected by millions was instantly turned into devastating heartbreak. And this brilliantly illustrates a crucial lesson. The World Cup is a place where hope is created at full volume and destroyed in mere seconds.
Section 3, Icons and Television Drama, the Era of Demigods.
As the world recovered, this tournament morphed into a planetary theater for absolute, pure genius. Picture this, 1958, a 17-year-old kid named Pelé steps onto the pitch in Sweden and leaves the entire planet in pure disbelief. He basically launches a new football age. Then, in 1966, England wins on home soil, firmly cementing their footballing identity. Jump to 1970, and we see a Brazilian side that was so dazzling and creative they felt totally untouchable, and they permanently win the original Jules Rimet trophy. And then, 1986 in Mexico. Diego Maradona turns football into poetry, rebellion, and magic all at the exact same time. You've got his famous Hand of God goal right alongside his mesmerizing solo run. One moment is controversial, the next is just utterly divine. By this point, the World Cup wasn't just crowning champions anymore, it was forging immortal icons.
But you know those demigods on the pitch? They were really only half the story. Television changed absolutely everything. Suddenly, you didn't need a boat ticket. You just needed to crowd around a fuzzy, glowing box in your living room. People who had never even left their hometowns were suddenly living and breathing South American and European drama in real time. Families gathered, streets fell incredibly quiet, and entire countries literally adjusted their daily routines around matches. It transformed the World Cup from just an event you attended into this deeply shared global experience.
Section 4. A truly global spectacle, a mirror of the world. By the time we hit the 1990s, the tournament had evolved. It was no longer just Europe and South America trading the trophy back and forth. Look how rapidly the global footprint accelerates here. South Korea and Japan in 2002, South Africa in 2010, and Qatar in the Middle East in 2022. The whole planet is now fully invested. Every single host nation brings its own unique flavor, its own culture, and its own narrative to the pitch. The World Cup basically became a mirror of the diverse, emotional, and constantly evolving world itself.
And because of that incredible accelerating reach, we arrive at this undeniable truth. When the World Cup speaks, the world listens. Both commercially and culturally, it has become an absolute behemoth. One strong moment, one incredible bending goal travels across every social platform, every news outlet, and every language in a matter of minutes. There is simply no other tournament on Earth that has the ability to command the planet's attention so completely.
And finally, Section 5, the magic of the cup, tension, underdogs, and shared heartbeats.
So as the game modernized with highly scientific tactics in these billion-dollar stadiums, you have to ask, why did it never lose its soul? Well, I think it comes down to three main things. First up, the unbearable pressure. In regular club football, you have a whole season to fix a mistake, right? But here, one single, slightly misplaced pass can change an entire nation's mood. It's a battle for glory under totally impossible tension. Second, underdog miracles. The World Cup gives every small country a very real chance to believe that history can be rewritten on any given day. And third, the shared experience. This emotional theater gives a nation pride for 4 years, pain for a lifetime, and hope for the next generation. It's the ultimate stage that turns ordinary players into eternal legends.
Which really brings us to our final, beautiful thought. Somewhere in every World Cup, there is always a first kick. Think about it. Somewhere, a child watching their very first tournament is falling completely in love with the game, ensuring that it constantly renews itself. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this question to chew on. As the tournament expands its format once again and technology completely changes how we watch the game, what will the next generation's Americanazo, or their Hand of God, look like? The beautiful game is still writing its mythology, guys. We just have to wait for the whistle.